So I was looking for a wireless controller I could use with my Nintendo Classic Mini. I love using this thing, but the controller that came included is way too short. I'm always going back to play the classic Nintendo games, and lately, I've been playing them on the Nintendo Switch online service. So I'm looking for something I could use for both systems. There are a ton of controller options out there, but in this video, I wanted to try one of the mod kits from 8bitdo. I've heard it pronounced as 8bitdo. I'm going with 8bitdo just because it feels right to me. Now, these are DIY mod kits that let you upgrade your wired retro game controllers into a Bluetooth controller. Basically, you keep the outer shell of the old controller, swap out the inside components with the mod kit board, and keep the same retro look and feel as the original controller. Cool feature about these is that it also works with all kinds of systems and 8bitdo receivers, which are sold on their site as well. They sell receivers for original systems to pair up with more modern controllers, so we are going to pick up a receiver for the NES Classic Mini along with the mod kit. And of course, I'll add links to the video below. So let's check out what's inside. The kit is pretty straightforward. We have the mod kit PCB, and this looks really clean. The LED indicator and the charging port. The charging cable. A screwdriver. An anti-static bag to store your old board. It's pretty cool that they thought about keeping the old board protected. So I have an old Nintendo controller with a disconnected wire that I found cheap. We are going to be using that for the mod kit, but I also have a working one that we'll open up just to show you the insides as well. So we'll remove the 6 screws holding the shell together. The cable is wrapped around the shell in a specific way, and it's pretty easy to just untangle it and remove the board. Just follow the steps on the instructions and you shouldn't have any issues. So here's the old board without the cable wired to it, and we're just going to place it inside of the anti-static bag. We'll keep this in a safe place, and you could always change it back to the way it was before. Next, we're going to do some light cleaning for the inside of the shell, the padding, and the buttons. Everything seems to be in good condition, and I like the vintage look it got over the years. The inside is not that dirty, it's just a bit dusty. Just get a cheap toothbrush and just give it a good dusting. I gave it some wiping with a microfiber cloth for anything else I could wipe off. I think that looks pretty good. You should be able to place the board the same way as the old one. Here's something I wanted to mention. Even though I ordered the one for the original Nintendo controller, I was having issues placing it into the shell because of this little plastic piece right here. It's kind of squared off and I need to round it out. I happen to have a small file that I could use on model kits to smooth out sharp edges. So I'm going to gently file the corners enough just to fit the board. We'll try fitting the board again, and it went in with no issues this time. It's a minor issue, but it wasn't that bad of a fix, and it looks like it just took maybe 10 minutes to make the adjustment. So just be aware in case you come across that problem. Now to connect the charger LED indicator. It's pretty straightforward. Place the ribbon cable to the board with the pins touching, and then just close the latch to secure it in place. I just lightly pull the ribbon cable just to make sure it won't slip off. So we place the buttons and paddings before we place the board in again. The ribbon cable will stick out of the board like this. The instructions doesn't really show you how to adjust the LED into the hole where the wire is supposed to go, but I managed to give it a slight twist just to set it in place and away from the screw hole slots. And it should look something like this. It's time to close it up and put the screws back on, and it should hold the LED in place. Okay, So now to pair it up with the Switch to test it out. Just to make a note that each system has a different pairing method. All is noted in the included instructions if you plan on switching between systems. Again, the instructions are pretty straightforward and it's easy to set up. I'm pretty surprised how quick it is to pair up the controller. I wanted to show the pairing process with no edits so you can see it in real time. Once you see the paired notification and the controller icon come up, you're pretty set. So, moment of truth. How does this thing hold up? It's pretty responsive so far, but we have to try it in game just to make sure. I did try a few games out and something did feel a bit off, but I wasn't so sure what it was. It's not until I tried Metroid out and noticed when I lightly tapped the buttons, it wasn't responding as accurately as I'd hoped. Remember that the pads inside these older controllers might have gone through a lot of wear and tear over the years. It might not be making good connections between the buttons and the board. Luckily, I had some extra NES controller paddings from a previous project that I worked on. I picked these up from retro modding a while back when I was working on other projects. These are updated and made better than the older ones, and they're cheap. So let's open the controller back up and replace the paddings. We'll speed through this and try it out again. So here's some button tapping just to show you the results. I definitely felt a huge difference in the input timing. Especially with NES games, you need it to be really accurate. So let's look at the charging cable. This thing is shorter than the controller for the NES Mini. I don't quite understand why it was made so short. The charging tip feels very delicate, so this seems to be the only way to charge this, so you have to be very careful using this. They do sell replacements in case you lose it or break it, so you have that option too, but just take care of your cable. So the way I'm going to be using it is connected to a power adapter that has a USB-C port. I'm also going to be using a USB-C cable extension to connect this together. I really like the idea of being able to have a Bluetooth adapter for these mini systems. This receiver is about the size of a USB thumb drive. We'll just plug it into the Player 1 port, use the instruction cheat sheet to pair up the controller, and you're ready to play. So my mini console just happens to have more built-in games for it. So we're just gonna try this out with some games and see how this feels. I have to say that this is such a cool mod. I'm not experiencing any lag as I'm playing, buttons feel really good, and I love having the original feel like how I used to play these games. Even with the small troubleshooting, it did not take very long to put this together and start playing. So I'm super satisfied how this turned out. If you don't have a retro controller to mod, you can always check out the wireless options that Nintendo offers for Nintendo Switch Online members. And looks like Nintendo will have one for GameCube soon. Check out 8bitdo as well. There are so many options out there now when it comes to controllers. You can buy Bluetooth controllers, controllers with adapters, wired controllers, different colors, big or small. Whatever your preference is, there's something out there for you. You can always check out the other mod kits available on 8bitdo's site. My guess is that the GameCube one might be popular once Nintendo releases GameCube games on the Switch Online service. Which era of video games do you belong to? Nostalgia might mean a different thing for you. I try to change up the type and style of games as my library grows, but I always seem to find myself going back to playing those classic games that I grew up with. I love how we can upgrade our old systems and still preserve the original feel. Capturing that original feel is just a vibe. Let me know what you think about the mod kits and what game or console gives you the most nostalgia vibes. You can check out the links below for what I mentioned in the video as well. I go by the name Makinto. Thanks for watching. See ya.